Alright, time for another draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com also. But, yes, the debate is in just a disgustingly horrible form. The comments are just so off the subject. So instead of showing evidence, something reasonable, that there's some hope that it takes 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast, or some kind of evidence that gravity isn't always a time-dependent force. That is, every single time you look at any circumstance, you can use time to get the correct answer about how much gravity force, how much momentum, how much velocity something will acquire. Always works, where distance not so much. Anyway, and so there's just nothing. They just claim the physics has some sort of integrity, and it has none. So there's never been an answer to the simple observation that they have never performed the Eddington experiment from space. It takes 5 minutes. There's 400 times better resolution. You just need a decent camera, okay? And you can also use Jupiter. I mean, we have the technology to do that. And they've never even tried it? That makes sense to you people? Sorry, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of a bold statement that a force is bent by gravity. That photons are actually bent. It's the only exception. It's an exception to a rule that exists everywhere else, that nothing moving the speed of light is bent. Nothing. Okay, by any other force. A force can't bend a force can't hit a force. That's the rule. Except this one case. And they still haven't redone the experiment. Proven it, with real evidence. And again, this is in the context of they won't even concede that, yes, if Eddington actually said in his journal he got 10% of the data quality. That is, he was hoping for 10,000 stars per slide. He got 1,000. All right, huge degrade, gigantic degrade. He said, I wouldn't stake my life on these results. You think that experiment should get a New York Times headline saying Einstein proven right? That seems like good science to you. That's your definition of, yes, that's real rigorous good science. They won't even concede these points. I mean, it's just so petty. Ugh. Ew. Ew. These people are just so creepy. You're just saying, is this really? This is the substance of human beings? They can't do any better than this? Oh, it's just tragic. These are people interested in science doing this. They have some knowledge of science, and they're talking this shit, this weaselly shit. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there was the Pirro comment that was so irrelevant, right? I mean, the point made about Wolfram is that he certainly has popularized the idea that you can take very simple rules, a very simple system, and create very complex images or mechanisms out of it. And that's the substance of the theory or the argument he made for years. Okay. And because you use words like cellular automata or some other word, it doesn't really matter. The idea is you take something very simple and you can get outcomes that appear or even random. Okay. But there's no way you're going to get random without putting random in, frankly, and that's the truth. So that's going to this next comment. So that's just obvious, and I'm just saying that I think if Wolfram actually watched the simulation and understood that it's only 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, and only 3 possible interactions, that he would have to concede that's an amazingly simple system to create something as nuanced as charge. Charge isn't explained by physics. They have no mechanism. They have no way of explaining why electrons repel electrons and why they attract to protons. They can't explain the 2 interactions. They have no mechanism. So, they're counter-arguing somehow it's not relevant. It has nothing to do with Wolfram's concept of simple mechanisms creating complex outputs. When, of course it does. Jesus, it's just so petty. So this asshole says, bro. Well, you're getting blocked just for saying bro, okay? Nigga, okay? You're getting blocked. I'm not your bro. I'm not your bud. I'm not your... What's the other word they use? Bra. I'm not your bra. Fuck you in the ass till dead. They studied substitution systems based on hypergraphs. Yeah, and really, what's the point if you're going to talk about, you know, a simple mechanism and then you create random moves? Now, random moves ruins the whole idea of simplicity, right? So if you're going to have things hyperspace, you know, move in hyperspace. So each time you freeze frame, you have a, you know, you're doing a frame by frame analysis, and then you just all of a sudden, your rule is it hyper, you know, it does something that we have no reason to believe happens in actual physical space, that anything can hyperspace. So why would you bother with that as a premise? I mean, it's just a ridiculous, why not just break the calculator by making it do something irrational, stupid, moronic? If you think the real universe is hypering, you're just too fucking stupid. You might as well believe in a holy ghost. All right, and then they're finding mind-bending... Wow, what a joke. They're finding shit, okay? So that's just a lie. They can't show you anything, all right? So they're not going to show you anything. Isomorphisms between hypergraph evolution and the core of QMGR. We're talking... causal invariance, Lorentz invariance. Yeah, they're talking it. They're not showing it. So this is just bullshit, okay? This is just talk. This is like them saying, yeah, we've almost made a quantum computer. Yeah, almost. Yeah. So whatever, multi-way systems. What is this crap? I'm not even going to bother trying to read the rest. They're not claiming to have found a specific rule set for our universe. Yeah, they're just saying garbage in, garbage out. Amazing. Or to simulate electrons. Yeah, that's exactly my point, right? I am simulating them, and quite perfectly with these simple rules. There's no denying the fact that it works. There's no denying that the simple theory that, well, if electrons are just explicitly that simple, they hate electrons and they love protons, okay? They move towards protons, they move away from electrons. And protons are just as simple. They only move towards protons and away from electrons. I mean, any imbecile can figure out that, well, I could do this. Yeah. And what do I need a strong force for, right? I don't need any strong force to push this into the red. I don't need a strong force to push this into the red, right? And if they're on opposite sides of each other, I mean, clearly the universe... rationally you would understand that everything is in this universe where we see each other because of the force that's between us, the radiation bouncing between us. I can't see you without radiation hitting you and bouncing to me. So we know that there's no reason to believe that electrons and protons aren't living in the same universe. They have to see each other. And if two protons can't see each other, then they can get very close to each other. You don't need a strong force. And then the simple argument is you want to make a nuclear bomb, well, you create some circumstance where you can knock this fella out really easy. And these two are sitting there looking at each other saying, I hate your fucking guts. So, come on. It works, and it's so fucking simple. And you fucking pieces of shit say, what, it's bad science? That's not a good scientific theory? I mean, you're fucking such lying scum. Alright, anyway. It's currently more general than that. These correspondences are emerging from entire classes of rule sets and graph structures. That's what makes it so mind-blowing. So go ahead, let's just take an image of my simulation working, doing charge, and show me their simulation doing anything. Anything at all. That one could call a coherent, meaningful thing relevant to this universe that we live in. Alright. Let's see. The idea that you can get sophistication out of simple rules is not some ideological dogma. So I'm agreeing with it, you dumb fuck. That's the whole point of my post. I'm saying here, in perfect agreement with your argument, is this simulation. I mean, can they distort reality? And I mean, can you ever see anything straight? Is your vision always corrupted by your micropenis? Can you never see past the fact that your brain just keeps saying, I have a micropenis, I have a micropenis, and you just can't see anything else in the world but that? Okay, what rule form is responsible for that demands our skepticism? So again, there was no skepticism in my comments, in my conversation, in any piece of it at all. I was confirming it and stating, here's a perfect working example of it doing real physics, not fake physics, actual real physics. Oh, I mean, they can't pay any attention at all. There wasn't a single criticism of Wolfram in the comments I made on their board. It was an affirmation of exactly what he's arguing. Yes, the video, I titled him a douche because the douche part is he doesn't answer his own email, doesn't even read it, doesn't acknowledge it, and he sends you to a forum full of Nazis who can't stand hearing any other idea but their own. So for that, he's a douche. The evidence for that is literally everywhere and largely a mundane brute fact for most contemporary thinkers. So it's just so funny. Yes, the argument that the small universe is a simple universe should be one that everybody agrees with. That's not the universe that has ESP in it. It's the little universe. The little things have huge, they have radar. They're like battleships. They have all kinds of goddamn machinery and shit. Now, the idea is that the small universe is a dumber, simpler universe. And that's what you have to make this universe out of, is something simpler, not something more complicated. God damn, you people are so fucking stupid. All right. You can't imagine how someone operating a corporate forum wouldn't moderate a topically and irrelevance in their product. And irrelevance to their product. I don't know. So the idea that he's operating a corporate forum is what he should say. It's not a science forum. Okay, so that's what he should explicitly say, is that we're a bunch of people paid to sell product. We're not here to talk about reality or facts or science or to do anything called anything in the public interest. We're just here to sell Mathematica product. So say that. Be honest about it. Don't pretend you're scientists. Don't pretend you have some interest in what's happening in the science community. So fuck you. Why would they have a category called physics? Why? Why have the category if you're not going to talk about physics, for fuck's sake? Oh, you're such a weasel. I just can't believe these people are sycophants for this fraud and fakery. The idea that some corporate CEO building science technology, well, again, if that's all he's doing, then what the fuck is he on science forums for? Because he's really not talking about science. He's talking about selling crap. All right. Spearheading an actual research institution. Yeah, nonsense. Okay, and an active physics project needs to be paid to care about science. Needs to be paid to care about science. Because you weren't able to garner their attention. No, the point is I wasn't even able to be allowed to garner their attention. The post was deleted in less than 24 hours, and it doesn't say anything offensive, and it's not anti their corporation, and it's not any of that crap. Okay, about your video on the first contact is impressive narcissism. So there's no way to, you're just basically saying there's no way that anyone, okay, can solicit attention for doing something that I would argue any reasonably fair person would say is pretty impressive. Duplicating the function of charge with 2 plus 2 plus 3 physics is, I'm just saying, if anyone else on Earth did it besides me, you wouldn't be calling it garbage. You fucking weasel. Oh, your people are just such garbage. All right. Narcissism. I don't know what Navelling, even Wolfram's. Yeah. So that's kind of funny. Rivaling Wolfram's narcissism. Yes, because he is way full of himself. So again, none of this is about me. These videos aren't about what. Look, I invented this. I did this. I did this. I did this. Where is that in the videos? That's not in the videos. The argument is your physics sucks. It's flat Earth stupid. All right, and you take no responsibility. You are cowards. You are afraid of confrontation. You're afraid to have your crap challenged. Your icons are all chicken shit, and it's quite obvious. I offered Veritasium $4,000. $4,000. Offered Thunderfoot $4,000. Okay, to deal with me, and they wouldn't do it for $4,000. All right. I promise that because someone didn't look at your video in particular, therefore your whatever this is, shills who knows, masquerading as scientists actually astounds. Therefore, their, I don't know, proprietary shills masquerading as scientists. Well, you've just pointed out that that's exactly what they are. That if you talk about anything outside of their realm of product, you're talking nonsense. It's not physics. It's not science. The only thing that's science is anything Mathematica, anything Wolfrianism. You know, you have to speak Wolfrianism, or, you know, you can't play with them. How much correspondence do you think a world-famous intellectual gets? Well, that would be a good question, right? So let's say, what do you think the answer is? What, you know, it's not like his email is just all over the place, so you have to go looking for it, all right? And the fact is that how many people do you actually think give a shit about what Wolfram talks about? I mean, besides Wolfram, what is it? It's just talk. I mean, frankly, you can't even understand what the fuck he's talking about. So the idea of creating some sort of mathematical engine, you know, some place you could go where they have supercomputers and they can do your math formulas for you very fast. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Fine. Yes, it's very nice to have something like that. But how much do I need to email the guy about that? No. So I would wonder, you think the answer is what? How many do you think it is? Okay. Wait, I suppose you have no idea. Yeah, but I would challenge you to say that the fact is that they get all that much. Okay, that it's overwhelming and they can't deal with any of it. And they can't scrutinize it. Again, in the email, I pointed out the simple scenario. I'm duplicating charge with these simple rules. So that should be enough to be peak interest. Duplicating charge, right there, somebody should say, okay, you have a simulation that duplicates charge. Yeah, I want to see that. So if you know somebody who has one of those, I'd want to see it. Okay. Okay, no one owes you anything. It's not about owing me anything. It's about every single one of them being a coward. Again, I've asked them directly. I have the emails to prove it. Okay, offering them thousands of dollars for their time. And they won't do it. Because the fact is they don't have a counter argument. Their physics will look ridiculous. When everybody knows in the public that they believe in 1/2 mv squared merely because one man said so. And they have no physical evidence defending it. I mean, you could go back to the Deschartelet experiment, right? And do you think it was good science for the scientists of the time to not realize denting clay with a round object is theoretical shit? That it won't work? It's not a linear experiment because the object you're dropping isn't linear? Oh, amazing. Instead of working on your production quality and communication skills, what do I need? So again, you're saying that somebody interested in science needs swirly stuff, and I need stars flying. I need something happening, and all kinds of. That's your ridiculous argument. All right. You make a video. I mean, go watch Feynman's lectures. Are they all that intriguing? Yeah. No, it's physics. The physics is intriguing. Okay, the production values are shit. All right, you make a video of whatever this is, and self-owns. I don't know. So again, you have no counter argument, and you're a liar. So that's the best you can do. All right, if your idea has any merit, you're being a poor shepherd of its promotion. So exactly how have I done that poorly? I've challenged the people you need to challenge. All right, I've explained over and over again. I've played their physics and counter-argued mine against it. I've given it every fair opportunity. So what the fuck are you talking about? My takeaway, we have Thunderfoot at home. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that mean? So I did offer Thunderfoot $4,000. I said it right in my email. I'm going to make you an exception, okay? Because you're blah, 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 blah. And I'll offer you $4,000 to engage these arguments. To prove MV squared. And he wouldn't take my money. All right. So you're just, I have to block you, but you're just a cunt. I mean, bro, fuck you. No, I only removed it, but, I really did want to block him. What a cunt. So what's this? Are just quanta of space in fields that make up everything we know. Whatever, it's not very useful. A broken sentence with an or it starts with. So not very useful. Thank you. All right. So superior mind. Okay, I'll read it. He's making my arguments, but sometimes I wonder if he's, Anyway, the commentators come across as desperate and dishonest. Dishonest and desperate, I guess I would say. Dishonest and dishonest and dishonest and then desperate. I mean, nothing, nothing's in context. Nothing is an accurate statement regarding anything I've said or anything I've promoted. And again, for that other asshole to sit there and argue as if I was criticizing Wolfram's theory that simplicity creates complexity when I was endorsing it, aggressively endorsing it. All right. In how they have to take things out of context, ignore, exclude, and actual points being made, talk nonsense, as if using integrals and differentials are required. Well, I mean, frankly, if they meant anything, right? I mean, we know that, integrations, there's nothing wrong with that, but the differentiation is where things go, well, the hell. When they say, well, look, this equals this over here, so we'll take that and put it in this formula over here where the context is completely different. So, that's when it all breaks. Again, they did quite explicitly almost just say MV, when they're measuring the mass of an electron, MV equals 1/2 MV squared. I mean, that's the differentiation they're using, okay? They're creating an obvious inequality as a starting point. All right. Out of reframing, etc. It's funny because I was making fun of how they can't logically dissect or test this stuff on their own, and all they do is regurgitate what they've learned. Well, again, I'm not expecting anybody to test any of this on their own. I don't want somebody on their own dropping 4 feet, 4 pounds 1 foot and 1 pound 4 feet. I want it to be done scientifically with the same rigor they do their other quantum experiments. Maybe spend $10,000 on it. Ooh, a huge budget. Do it right. Do it completely. Do it accurately. Don't do it shit way. All right. And the response is to tell us to read more of the Bible. Yeah, whatever. In essence, Khan Academy, again, no actual arguments. And look, Khan Academy, the joke was when he did the double slit experiment, he had to redo the video 3 different times because, yeah, he knew he had contradictions in what he was saying. There is a reason why nobody uses 1/2 mv squared in physics engines. So I don't know what this is. Nor for rocket science. So let's just understand any kind of space navigation. All right, it's not going to work. Now they pretend it has something to do with rockets lifting off because they just make up the fuel numbers. They just say, well, you tell me how far the rocket went and I'll tell you how much octane the fuel had. Okay, so the octane of the fuel changes depending on how far the rocket goes. The further the rocket goes, oh yeah, the higher the octane of the fuel. It's just silly. All right. Nor for anything practical in most situations. It's just not accurate. Well, again, the simple things tell you the truth, right? I mean, the fact that no professional bowler is using a lighter bowling ball when, yes, any decrease in the mass and increase in the velocity will gain them more pin action. So why aren't they doing it if it works? Well, they're not doing it because it doesn't work. All right, I'm back. So the rest of this is just basically making the space argument that twice the force, twice the velocity, twice the distance. Where does this 1/2 and this squared function enter into any part of what happens? And you could argue this is like the ballistic pendulum argument, that the only thing you can ever collect is momentum. You can't collect anything else. So the only argument is that somehow you're saying that in every one of these cases where I can't collect the extra momentum, because that would be non-conservation of momentum, so I can only collect momentum. It's a tiny fraction of the total kinetic energy. So how can this thing do anything that matters? And to make this argument that it's making heat, well, they have absolutely no experimental evidence demonstrating this creation of heat. So they have nothing. It's just such garbage. All right, so I think that's it for that one. All right. So this asshole says, do you have a video or paper where you state your hypothesis of basic physics concepts? I have 5-minute videos on the debatephysics.com channel. And the other channel, I have a whole bunch of stuff, basically comparing Wikipedia's description of reality versus my description of the real experiments and what really has been demonstrated. And yes, I have started writing papers. They're just not for prime time yet, but they're linked in other videos I've made. He used to have a written thing on his website, but he deleted it. No, I didn't. It's not deleted. It's just on a different page, and replaced it with his rant about how 1/2 mv squared is wrong. So I didn't replace it with that argument. That's a lie. The website is the website. I mean, you go to the website and all the subjects are there. Okay, I mean, there's all the different elements of what constitutes motion in the universe, including gravity and charge, and lots of other subjects. So fuck you, liar. So he says mass equals energy equals momentum, weight. So it's not mass. Mass doesn't equal anything. So I've never written mass equals. It's weight. Weight is motion. Weight is momentum. You can't make weight without, compressing a spring or something. There's no other way to have weight than to be applying a force. So you really do, have to have momentum to have weight. Fucktard. So you can't even get that right. I mean, you're going to lie about what people say, and then you can't even get these tiny details right. All right, so I'll just delete this piece of shit. Well, I can provide links, but again, I've made thousands of videos. A lot of them are well enough titled to get the idea. And again, the website has the subjects all arranged, so fuck you. We've seen how little integrity you have. You skipped out on your bill when you promised Steve Burrow to pay him. So this never happened. It's just an absolute lie. So I'm just gonna block you. Steve Brozo will never say I ever agreed to pay him a penny. So that's just nonsense. Just a lie. I never made any agreements with anybody. I never not paid a bill. He said, look, I never paid Physics Michael for his time. What a lie. I never agreed to pay him. I agreed to pay him for his time if we would play my fucking video. I said, name your price. All I want you to do is play the 5-minute video and then you explain how the video's a pile of shit. That was the invite. And he could charge me a couple $100 and I would have paid it. But he didn't want to take the money because he wants to pretend he's a real scientist and he doesn't care about that kind of shit. All right? But he wouldn't do it for free. They won't do it for money and they won't do it for free. That's the truth. I mean, I can't believe it's disgusting that people would lie. And he calls himself Biden. So he's probably a Trump troll, of course. But definitely blocked. I mean, just lying. You have to resort to just overt lying. I mean, it's just pathetic. All right. Hothla Day. Hothla Day's been dead for like 3 years now. Physics Michael Pirro. Mindless marbles. Franklin Who. Where did Franklin Who make a reasonable argument? He didn't realize that twice the velocity when you roll something is 4 times the distance. All right. The theorem apocalypse. That's that stupid Ken Wheeler. You know, the fake photo cell thingy guy, whatever it is. His ferro fluid nonsense. Mickey Farley. So you're just mentioning names. Obviously I don't have any reason to take any of that seriously. So fuck you. Humiliated every one of your so-called. So he's not going to link to any of that. So let's go to, we can go to Mindless Marbles nonsense page, but it doesn't have it doesn't have anything on it. There's no list of, here's argument 1, proof of it taking 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. No, not there. There's no proof that gravity's not a time-dependent force. Here's the proof where distance and time doesn't work. If you use the time equation, you won't get the right answer. Here's proof. It's nothing like that. It's just amazing. What there is, though, is there's that stupid Gosling guy telling you that when you slide across thin ice, you're not putting less pressure on the ice. The faster you move across the ice means you're not putting less weight on the ice. There's not less physical weight per square inch on the ice. He's saying that's not true. And that you can't go across thin ice by moving across it quickly. It doesn't happen. Yeah. Okay. That you'll find. He still has the video up where he says if I shoot 2 things off of a cliff, the one going twice as fast goes 4 times as far. He still has that video up. Why don't you present the counter arguments? Oh, I'm just going to block that. I mean, it's too ridiculous. All right, let's see what this says. Not even going to read. I mean, it's just such a lie. I mean, obviously, I've counter-argued everything. And he's a PDF file. Don't forget the time he defended kiddie porn as a viable alternative to cognitive therapy for pedophiles. So I don't even know what a cognitive therapy is. Have you heard of a cognitive therapy? The only way you can change your sexual orientation is through reconditioning, okay? A process that's very unpleasant. And the point is that I'm arguing that, number one, that there should be an age of consent, and it should be maybe even higher than it is now, and that no one should ever have interaction with minors in any kind of exploitive sexual way. So there's absolutely no defending of being a pedophile in terms of your actions. I'm merely stating that if somebody has a sexual preference that's out of the range of reasonable, in the sense you can't really get what you want, the fact is you can get it synthetically, and that should be good enough. You can make that good enough. I've had synthetic sex. Okay, yeah. Look, there's people who have phone sex. There's people who have all kinds of different kinds of sex, okay, and they find it satisfying and good enough. And that's all my point was, is that if looking at some porn will give them a way of enhancing their fantasy life and being able to satisfy themselves, then they won't need to exploit kids, you retard. That was the simple argument. That I don't think you're doing the world any favor, okay, by thinking seeing porn makes you a pedophile. That's not how you become one. So you're not going to fix the problem that way. And in my opinion, you're just going to make it more likely that people will have to do the real thing if you don't give them the synthetic replacement. So I'm all for it. Look, if it comes down to it and it satisfies somebody's desires, go ahead and make a doll they can exploit. I'd vote for it. Now you're saying I'm a criminal because I would vote for that. I would say, yeah, that's reasonable. Go ahead. Can't hurt a doll, okay? It's really okay. If somebody wants to fuck a dog and they fuck a fake dog, why should I find that terrible and offensive and a terrible idea? Your notion that somehow you're going to fix people who have these desires, that's the silly thing, okay? That's the retarded, silly part. I'm really saying that the easy mitigation is to do everything you can for them to find legal ways to gratify their desires. And fuck you in the ass till dead. I mean, these people are just so petty. Just amazing. So you can't even make any kind of argument about any subject without them perverting it. So, like I said, you can't talk about a single historical truth without them perverting it. It's just, it's disgusting. There's no, you can't have arguments with these lunatics. You're Satan, okay? If you argue for anything reasonable, a right to die. Oh, you're a Satanist. That kind of crap is what they're pulling. It's just disgusting. Disgusting. Disgustingly poor quality arguments. All right. So this guy says these physicists are fat losers with micro peens, with micro peens. Whatever. They're poor and probably live in basements and have cancer. LOL. So anybody would even make, put that in text. Oh, yes. I hope you get what you deserve. Okay, they could never be like you. You're a winner, Gary. So again, you really think you're going to win in the long run. You really believe it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. You really think that's good physics. And you really think there's entanglement, that there's ESP between little tiny photons and stuff. And you really think there's antimatter, okay, and that the whole the really bulk of the universe all annihilated. See, because the antimatter hit the matter and it all annihilated, and there was just a little bit left over, and that's what the universe is made over, the little extra bit. But there's still some hidden antimatter somewhere. You believe this shit, and you think that's going to be the winning argument in the future. I mean, really. Okay, and this guy says, hey, are you a real playmate, Tissy? Well, okay, I can just block you for... why are you here? Why are you watching these videos? Why? You obviously couldn't give a shit about anything. Oh, God, it's just amazing. All right, you should try looking at chemtrails. Okay, so I'm willing to argue you're flat Earth physicists, the ones who are arguing against flat earthers and the moon fraud and all that crap. I'm willing to argue with them. They have to defend their physics. And I've offered them money to do it, and they've always run away. So why don't you show up for the argument, weather devil? Let's see what this channel is. He's curious. Nothing. Okay, he's got one video in some foreign language picking up beacon 200 miles away in flat band conditions. Whatever that even means. Wow, you're a really interesting guy. Anyway, time travel, etc. I'm sure your expertise would have the subscribers flocking to you like a magnet. So it's about subscriptions. So there's lots of people watching all kinds of yogi videos and guru videos and religious videos, and so that means that's real stuff. Credibility is about how many people like to hear what you have to say. It's not about some sort of rational standards of judgment about an argument and its validity. Anyway, thought I do enjoy ASMR, so that's the stuff that puts you to sleep. Okay, so fuck you in the ass. If that's what you think of science, then fuck you in the ass till dead. Yeah, not my kind of human being. All right, Wolfram's made a career out of the game of life. Why don't people get this? So I don't even know what that means, so we'll remove it. At first, I thought you were calling out Wolfram for being a charlatan. I don't, he's an exaggerator, but I don't know about charlatan. Has he actually ripped somebody off? But quickly realized you're an average, even bigger nutcase. Yeah, and you're going to prove that with what? Oh, that's right, nothing. Let's see. Oh dear, I'm sorry, I don't have a physics degree. So that's very impressive, right? So we'll just say goodbye. Again, they can't argue these simple arguments. I mean, I've provided a simulation of charge. So just point out how the simulation of charge with only these 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, and 3 interactions is a totally invalid, that somehow that can't possibly be the correct answer. There's something that proves that can't be the answer. No, you don't have anything. All right, 19 minutes. Who cares? This time code crap is such a waste of time. We do need the strong force to explain certain experimental data, so that's just lying some more. Obviously, I'm saying the strong force is there, but it didn't push the protons together. It's a consequence of the 2 protons being so close together. I mean, how could they not understand? If you have something that negates a force, the electron is negating the repulsion between the protons. And then you could knock the electron out, and now the force is there because there's not something negating it. It's such an obvious, easy principle. And it works perfectly. It perfectly explains the circumstance. You're just such assholes. It's a long story, but the concept of isospin, so this is just more baby talk, like they have measured a real spin somewhere. You can't even measure a spinning object here on Earth. You can't measure the velocity of a spinning wheel and realize that it doesn't take 25 times the energy to make the wheel spin twice as fast. You can't even get that right. And you're going to talk about fucking spinning electrons? You're such a weasel. Let's see. Concept of isospin was introduced, and that led to hypercharge and eventually color change. Yes, it's just all crap. So fuck you. I mean, it's just nonsense, gibberish. And antimatter. Don't forget the antimatter. Oh, God. Humans suck so bad. Alright, so that's it. Okay, good. Looks like everything's cleaned up. Alright. So let's go to Mindless Marvels just for a laugh. So last thing he posted was a week ago. And what is it? He's going to complain about the thermodynamics arguments? View post. Yeah, YouTube probably won't let me see it. No, it won't let me see it. I have to put it in a private window. YouTube is blocking me from, using the internet, using YouTube. Still, okay. So I have to do a private window. Can't be signed in and see anything. Can't see anything if I'm signed in. It's just amazing. Okay, so it says draft science is now repeating creationist tier garbage about the second law of thermodynamics, supposedly conflicting with order increasing in the earth. No, I'm saying it's increasing in the entire universe, that every time a sun is born, the anti-entropy just took place. So every time gas crap condenses into suns, that's anti your entropy. That's the refilling of the battery. The batteries are the suns out there in space. They're the batteries for everything, right? I mean, that's not a bold statement to make, right? That the suns are the energy. And all your idiotic science, right? Their idiotic physics is saying the batteries are never recharged and the whole universe is going to lose energy. Now, Veritasium, when go watch the Veritasium videos, you micro penis, mindless micro marbles. That's what we'll call them, micro marbles. Go watch the Veritasium's video on thermodynamics, and he says right at the end, he goes, "Oh yeah, well there is gravity. Yeah, you can't forget about gravity, and it's it's doing exactly the opposite, right? It's defeating the whole entropy argument." And it's basically just refilling the batteries. Fact. It's just an absolute fact. So he posts a link to my video. I don't see how that helps him any, right? I assume that's my video. This point has been brought up by creationists as a means to try to debunk. So obviously I have no empathy with creationists. I have a channel called Do Not God, for fuck's sake. Right. Granted, DS is making the opposite argument. Oh, isn't that hilarious? So then why are you bringing it up if I'm making the opposite argument? Why would he do that? All right, and it has been addressed. Why does everyone have to try to point out crap that has been addressed? So where has it been addressed? Oh, please, just explain to me how gravity isn't the opposite of entropy, the exact opposite. As a functioning force in the universe, it's the exact opposite of entropy. It's the opposite of heat. Heat does this. It spreads out, right? Gravity is doing exactly the opposite. It's smashing things together. You can't understand that point. So this is the crap these people think. This is a debunk of anything I said. Amazing. No increase in entropy is not violated by the apparent increase in order in the Earth. So again, I never mentioned the increase in order in just the Earth. I talked about every gravitational body in the universe. Everything that is a big thing, okay, became a big thing through gravity, and gravity made it as opposite to entropy. It's a storage of energy. Because Earth is not an isolated system. Let Bill Nye explain it to you like a fifth grader. So he thinks a Bill Nye video is going to fix this? Well, that might be worth watching. So let's see what it says. Do living things defy entropy? So I never even talked about life forms beyond talking about the carbon cycle and the heating of the earth. And so this has nothing to do with my argument at all. Just zero. So again, it's just such a slander. These people cannot stay on the fucking goddamn subject. My argument is the earth defies entropy. The creation of the earth, the condensing of a bunch of shit into the earth, was the opposite of entropy. And built into those processes, gravitational processes, built into that process is the proton argument. That yes, you're making things get close together, and the danger is that whatever's holding them close together will be changed, and then they'll blow apart again. And the truth is, it will reveal the real energy that existed. But the simple truth is that if you thought suns were the source of energy in the universe, then you could understand that obviously those batteries are being recharged. Obviously. The universe is making new suns all the time. So obviously we're not going to run out of energy because the new suns are being made all the time. So what liars? Oh, just disgusting. All right. So the fact is, none of these people are accountable. None of them have channels where they have to take account for what they say in any way. They're all just sock players on the internet. And so that, might be why the quality of the comments are just so bad. Because I don't think anybody would want that. Piro doesn't mind talking shit. But he won't do it in a video anymore. So that's true. He's become too much of a coward for that. But that's it. That's all there's nobody making these arguments, these counter arguments defending great physics. And again, I will pay somebody if they're willing to make an actual video where they're in the video talking and they're going to explain something. But Ian Gosling can't do it. That Dispar, the biggest liar on earth guy, can't do it. Certainly Brozo can't do it. He can't understand a theory to save his life. So the fact is they haven't done it. The fact is there's no video they made where they explained how it's 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast. There's no video. Okay. There's no video showing us how, well, yeah, I just turn the nozzle on the hose and I make free energy. Yeah, it works. I really am making free energy. It's cool. Alright, anyway. So, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. I mean, it's just so dismal. Planet of assholes. Such assholes.